Hi, welcome back to my channel. My name is Kat, and today I am doing the 21 books I need to read in 2021. These are all physical books I have on my shelves because I really need to read down what I have. And these books are all books I really want to get to, and for some reason, I'm just not reading them. So this is one of my yearly goals, that I read all 21 of these, which is quite scary considering some of the books I have on here because they're quite long. But without further ado, we're gonna get into it. I've separated them by kind of genre. So let's start out, oh my god, I'm so hot. We'll see if I tried to take a thumbnail holding the books. And so if you saw a thumbnail that had books, then it was worth it. If the thumbnail was just me smiling with no books, then all my effort was in vain and it didn't work out and it just made me extremely hot. So anyway, let's get started. I have books up to my boobs. They're all right here. So we're gonna start out with horror, thriller, and dark books. So first up, When I Was 10 by Fiona Cummins. This is following two girls who are sisters, and they end up murdering their next door neighbor. One is sent to prison and one is sent to like a young child reform school. And it says, on the day that the one is getting let out of prison, we're going to find out what truly happened and if the one who actually did it went to jail or not. So I'm suspecting that, one of them is evil, if not both of them are evil. If you know me, I do like an evil child book, so I'm very keen to get to this one. Next up, I want to read A Luminous Republic by Barba, who is an author from Spain. So this is following a small town which is surrounded by a jungle, and there are over 20 children who are kind of at the edge of the town / in the jungle, and slowly they start to bleed out of the jungle into the town and cause havoc. So we have not one, not two, but over 20 potentially evil children. Very excited. I also have The Hunted by Gabriel Bergmoser. This is a mystery thriller where a grandfather is watching over his granddaughter at this local petrol station that he runs when a woman runs in and she is badly wounded and she is asking for his help because people are chasing her. I think that this is like a last stand novel in the middle of the outback at a petrol station. I'm very intrigued. I really want to read it. This is an Australian mystery thriller. Really want to read it. I also have a new one, I'm Not Scared by Niccolo Ammaniti, which is an Italian translation. So it says, it is an authentic portrayal of childhood, an enthralling story about friendship, betrayal, guilt, and innocence. So this apparently, when I looked it up, is quite dark. And I have recently really hit it off with Italian translations, so can't wait to get to this one. I also recently thrifted Monster by Frank Peretti, and I really, really want to get to this. It's about a husband and wife who are camping in the woods when a monster runs out of nowhere, scoops the wife up, and hauls her into the depths of the woods. And the husband is then going to hunt the monster down and get his wife back. It sounds very weird, and I want to read it. I also have The Discomfort of Evening by Marieke Rijneveld. This won the Man Booker International last year. So this is set in a very cold farm, and we're following a young girl who basically says one day, like, I wish my brother wasn't here, I wish he wasn't here, and then something really bad happens, and then she believes that her thoughts have direct consequences on those around her. This is supposed to be a very controversial book. Some people either love it or hate it. I want to know why it won the Man Booker, and I'm always down for a dark read. The last dark book on this list is The Hunger by Alma Katsu. This is giving me Oregon Trail, You've Got Dysentery vibes, only I believe this has cannibalism because they're traveling and they run out of food. So I'm ready. I also really, really love the cover, and I can't wait. I've never read anything set on like the Oregon Trail at all, but make it horror, it sounds great. Next up, I'm going to talk about fiction I want to read. This is The Stars and the Blackness Between Them by Petrus. So this is following a young girl from Trinidad who is caught with her girlfriend, and her parents decide to send her to America. And when she gets there, she forms a bond and relationship with a young girl, and things go from there. This is a queer FF love story where at least one of the characters is from Trinidad. I'm ready. I'm so ready. I love the cover. I've heard great things. And I also want to read Call Me By Your Name by Aciman. This is basically, like, you all know what it is. It is a 17-year-old boy who falls for a graduate student who is working the summer with his father, and kind of their summertime love story in the Italian countryside. I started to read this on ebook. I got about 10 pages in, and I already felt like this was going to be a 5-star read, so I stopped reading and I bought this copy, and then it didn't come for like 5 months, and it arrived like a few weeks ago, so it was like a present even though I paid for it so long ago, but I'm so ready to read this. Another one, which is an Italian translation, is Ocean Sea by Alessandro Baricco. I have read others by Baricco and was really good. This is following a bunch of different people at a remote seaside inn, including a lovelorn professor, a renowned painter, an inscrutable seductress, and a beautiful young girl who is fatally ill. And they are all brought together by the seaside. I'm planning to read this in January, so hopefully I'm currently reading it or will be reading it soon. I also must read The Weight of the Stars by Ancrum. This is one that I've hyped up so much in my mind that I'm a little scared to read it. I loved Wicker King. I've heard nothing but amazing things about this. It has a beautiful cover, it has beautiful edges, and I'm ready. This is following 2 young women who live in a trailer park, one who is obsessed with space, and the other one whose mother is on a one-way mission through the galaxy, and she climbs up on the roof every night to hear from her mother through sound waves. So I think it just sounds amazing. I'm so ready, and I'm also very nervous because I've hyped it so high for myself. I also want to read Last Will by Bryn Greenwood. This one was one of the most expensive books that I bought in 2020 because this is a backlist of Bryn Greenwood, which is specially printed. And Bryn Greenwood is my favorite author, I think. Because both of her books that I've read, I gave 5 stars, which is a feat I don't think any other author has accomplished so far. So I have read her most recent 2 books, so I decided to go back, and this is one of her earliest books that she wrote. So this is about Bernie, who fails at everything he touches. So he had a horrible childhood, but he is inheriting his grandfather's enormous fortune. And then basically things go from there, and there is drama in this small town, and he's not sure who he can trust. Basically, I wouldn't be interested in this, but it is Bryn Greenwood, so something is going to be amazing in this book. The last fiction book I want to definitely read in 2020 is Eileen by Ottessa Moshfegh. So I read My Year of Rest and Relaxation by Moshfegh this year and thought it was wonderfully done. And this is likewise following kind of a woman who is spiraling out of control. So it says Eileen is trapped between caring for her alcoholic father and her job as a secretary at the boys' prison. She tempers her dreary days by dreams of escaping to the city. In the meantime, her nights and weekends are filled with shoplifting and cleaning up her father's messes. But when the beautiful, charismatic Rebecca arrives on the scene, Eileen is enchanted. But soon Eileen's affection for Rebecca will pull her into a crime that far surpasses even her own wild imagination. I'm ready for the ride that Moshfegh is going to take me on in this book. I'm ready. Next, let's do sci-fi and fantasy. So I have The Ice Massacre by Tiana Warner. This is an FF fantasy romance. So we are following an ice clan who every year they send their warriors to battle the very dangerous mermaids that swim around the edge of the ice, and every year their men don't return. So this time they're going to try something different, and they're sending their women warriors. So this is, I believe, a relationship between one of the women warriors and one of the very dangerous mermaids. I'm so ready. I also really want to read The Sound of Stars by Alicia Dow, who is a Black author. This is following an Earth that has been taken over by aliens, and they have basically subjugated the humans, and the humans are forbidden from having any sort of like culture, including music, art, books. But our main character is basically hoarding a secret stash of books when one day an alien stumbles upon her, and he is supposed to report her, but he doesn't because he has a love of pop music. And together they set off on a journey to, I think, save the world. I have been wanting to read this forever. I love the cover. I just love everything about it. And I really love human AI type stories, which I think this kind of feels like that. I'm so ready. If you have picked this up this year, please let me know what you thought. I really can't wait. Another fantasy pick I have is The Forest of Hours by Kirsten Ekman, who is a Swedish writer. So this one is very interesting. It follows Skord, who is a mischievous magical being. He is in the woodland with no memory, no past, and no language. Alone and bemused, over 500 years, he studies the people of the forest and their language, copying their behavior and embarking on a journey to learn the strange ways of men. With each century that passes, his understanding deepens, and he educates himself in the ways of alchemist, surgeon, and naturalist. But despite all his accumulated knowledge, Skord finds it difficult to resist the call of the forest. I don't know, honestly, what it is with me and like forest Scandi literature. Like, I read Troll recently by Johanna Sinisalo, and it like was one of my favorites of 2020. I don't know, something about woodland creatures. I don't know, okay? I don't know. This is giving me also like feelings of Border, which is also a Scandi film about woodland trolls, which is so weird, but also so interesting. So I don't know, I'm so intrigued by this, and I don't know why I like troll mythology so much, or like woodland creature mythology so much. That's something new I learned about myself in 2020, but you know, I'm here for it. I also want to pick up The Binding by Bridget Collins. This is, I believe, like a Victorian fantasy MM romance. So it says, Emmett Farmer is a binder's apprentice. His job is to handcraft books, and within each to capture something unique and extraordinary, a memory. If you have something you want to forget, you can bind it. You will never have to remember anything about it. In a vault under his mentor's workshop, row upon row of books and secrets are stored. Then one day he makes an astonishing discovery. One of the volumes has his own name on it. So bookbinding, queer romance, Victorian setting. What more could you want? Another fantasy I really want to pick up is The Grace Keepers by Kirsty Logan. This is on my January TBR, so at the time you're watching this, I have either just read it or am currently reading it. This is following a world where global warming has risen the levels of the ocean. So there are landlockers and damplings. Landlockers stay on land, damplings travel on floating worlds that go around the ocean. And we're following two main characters. One who is Calendish, who administers shoreside burials where the dead are sunk to the deep depths of the ocean. And we're also following North, who works as a circus performer on a floating circus known as Excalibur. So I just think it sounds amazing. It weaves in Scottish fairy tale and lore with water imagery. I'm so excited. I hope I love it. I will let you know at the end of January. So the last book I really want to get to in this section is Hybrid Child by Mariko Ohara. This is a Japanese translation which is focused on AI. So it says, Jonah, a child murdered by her mother, has become the spirit of an AI-controlled house where the rogue cyborg, once known as Sample B number 3, takes refuge. Making a meal of the dead girl buried under the house, number 3 takes Jonah's form. On faraway planet Scaritus, an outpost of human civilization, the female AI system that governs society has become insane. Meanwhile, the threat of the Adropan Empire, the machine race that number 3 was built to fight, grows stronger. Wow. So it says, with the familiar strangeness of a fairy tale, O'Hara's novel transverses mysterious distance between body and mind, between the mechanisms of life and the ghost in the machine. Sign me the fuck up. That sounds absolutely amazing. And we are to the last 2 books that I absolutely must read in 2021. This is Poetry Collection Soft Science by Franny Choi. Pretty sure this was a gift my husband got me in 2019. So I failed to read it all of 2020. Shame on me. I am putting it on my must-read list. So if I don't finish it by next year, everyone can totally call me out and be like, what were you doing? It's so short. But this is following the intersections of being Asian and queer, and it's told through like Turing-esque poetry lines. I should have read it. I really should have. Cover, gorgeous. Content, probably gorgeous. And I will be remedying my lack of reading in 2021, hopefully. And the last one on my must-read list is also my most daunting one, because this is the nonfiction that I picked for the year. This is Romantic Outlaws by Charlotte Gordon. So this is following Mary Wollstonecraft and Mary Shelley. The alternating chapters are following each one, like from birth up to adulthood, and kind of not comparing and contrasting, but you can see what they were doing at the same age. And this is so fascinating, but it is so dense. I am 230 pages in, and it has a total of like 550 pages, but it is really hard to get through because the writing is, like I said, quite dense, and also there is a lot to take in, but like, damn it, I will finish this book this year. I'm hoping to put it in for Women's History Month because it has the history of 2 very important women, and I really should just finish it already because it is very good. It's just so dense, but I will try to focus my last brain cell and finish this book. So that ends the 21 books that I must read in 2021. Let me know what you thought down below. What are the books that you absolutely need to read? Of course, I have books that are coming out in 2021 that I really want to read, but I need to focus and work on my bookshelves, books that I already own, because they're getting a little full. So I need to read what I have to make room for more. So without further ado, I'm going to end the video now. I hope that you are having a lovely day, and I will chat to you later in another video soon. Bye!